Okay, we got the minutes Dan sent. Anybody have any questions on the minutes? JP? Minutes from the last meeting.
I have no question.
Was it the last meeting that Dan sent this? I don't remember.
I have to double check that, but I think so. I will abstain from that meeting.
Yeah, because you weren't present, that's right. Way back. 3:28 minutes. Yeah, it was a 10,000 and a 30,000. I don't think you were here, Jake.
Right.
Okay. So I'll move we accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Abstain. Aye.
0210. Mayor communication, anything other than what's on the agenda? Nicole?
No.
New business, the budget hearings. I'm happy with this. You suggested the planning department. In general government, there's other departments like the assessors. Sometimes they come. Does anybody want anybody else coming to these meetings other than the planning department? That was Melissa's suggestion.
Well, because we were doing CPA and I thought they could do it together and there's a
that
lot
would
of
be good.
transition in planning right now, so.
So we have an assessor, but there wasn't major change in that budget, so. Okay. And Mel, you're aware of all the general government budgets anyways.
In general, yeah. I mean,
Public safety,
Yeah.
the chiefs, human resources. Can we get Monica here for that one?
Yeah.
Should we? I think we
yep,
should.
that's general
No.
government.
Yeah.
Oh, is she general government?
Yeah.
Well, she's also on human, wait, so, May 9th.
There's human
There's
resources in
resources.
general government.
wait,
Oh,
so.
she's
that's-
not human. That's
Human services, that's my mistake.
Oh,
That should have
okay. I was
said
like-
services. Okay, I'm gonna correct that.
And so that's like veterans and.
Okay.
You're on May 9th.
May
CA.
9th should say human services.
Alright.
General government, let's have Monica come for human resources. Okay? I just
She'll
have-
come on May 8th.
May 8th,
Okay.
yes.
So do you want, let me ask you this, do you want Monica to come on May 8th, or do you want her to come on May 9th? Because unclassified is where all the insurances are, so we could maybe.
Well, I always thought you did that, but that's okay. Whatever you feel.
You know, she is, there's been some changes to insurance and
Yeah.
employment and stuff like that. So we could have her come maybe the 9th and go back to general government, and not.
Well, if we have any questions, we could do that.
I mean, there's.
I mean, I don't want to not to approve a department unless,
Or have her come, maybe have her come, and then maybe we'll have time to go over the insurances.
yeah,
On
okay.
the 8th. On the 8th.
Yeah, I mean, there's just been changes.
Well, it may be, the problem is if I publish this, we still have to go over it again because somebody might want to come for human services or unclassified stuff. I don't want to just jump to it and then not do it.
Well, right, but like you might have your questions ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah,
All right.
and she might come to both, I mean, I don't.
right, I mean, she might, there've been changes in insurances and more to come.
What did we call that department before? Insurance?
Probably.
I don't remember unclassified.
That's what it is in KBS, so that's what
Okay.
I started
Alright,
using that.
good.
It might have been benefits or something like that.
Okay. All right, so these dates are good, but Dan, JP, we're all good. I'm going to publish these.
But the other thing that's in there is like liability insurance, which is not really a benefit, so that's why it's more of like the
Okay.
overall.
I put in insurances.
Insurance, right.
Well, and it has like reserve in there. It's just everything that's total government.
Mhm.
It hasn't been plugged back into every single department, but it covers every single department.
Okay, first thing up is 75,000 for Medicare, et cetera. I assume this is because there is always kind of a shortfall because you're unaware of
Well,
need at the budget at July 1.
so we were short last year,
Yeah.
and I had already submitted the budget last year, so stands to reason that I would have started off kind of in the hole. And then also, you know, when contracts get signed and increases come and we add staff, that changes, and it changes our Medicare liability, and then also, and our payments, and then, we have, I can't remember what year it is, but I think sometime in the 80s, municipalities didn't used to pay Medicare, so some employees prior to a certain date didn't pay in, so therefore we didn't have to pay in. But now everybody hired now has to pay in, so it, you know, the free people are dropping off.
Okay.
Right.
So does your budget this year,
I
you
increased
think
it.
it's reflected, I mean, you don't think we'll need this next year, or you never know, right? Because
You never know, I mean, if payroll goes way up and, you know, it may or may not, but I did increase it
But this is for all
significantly
employees,
for
including
next year.
school department, right?
It does, it includes school and city departments.
Can you refresh us on the payment schedules? What do the employees pay?
So
What
it's
does the city pay, let's say, for a typical? employee?
0.45.
0.45?
1.45 and 1.45, 50/50.
Each 50/50 split on
Yeah, so-
Medicare.
Right, so of your taxable income, like, we send the federal government 2.9%. Employee contributes 1.45, we contribute 1.45.
I see, toast.
Except for those employees who have been hired prior to a certain date, and now they're dropping off, and you know, everyone, of course, who's hired now.
Because they were grandfathered in before the law changed.
Correct.
That takes care of Medicare. Was there unemployment with that?
Yeah.
Unemployment.
Is that because you've got unemployment?
What's changed?
There was a huge unemployment though, that basically wiped out our entire appropriation in 1 month.
When was that?
It was, last month? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
it's out of the month.
$47,000 or something like that.
How many employees are we talking about?
It was 3 total, one went back, like they had been denied originally, and then a judgment came in that they were not denied, and they sent us the entire amount for that person.
And that unemployment, is that a percentage of their salary, of their, whatever they had? Is that how that works?
Yeah, and then, you know, you get more if you have children and that kind of thing, there's a formula for self-insured for that.
And you never know what kind of unemployment you're gonna need, so I assume you didn't necessarily raise your
Well,
budget next year.
I would certainly, you know, while, I would just make a comment that I do think that we need to be more assertive, I don't wanna say aggressive, assertive on looking at those claims and looking at appealing. And
In other
having a
words,
more-
we're appealing that
Yeah.
that claim is not right.
Yeah, absolutely, and it shouldn't just be an automatic, and we need to make sure that there's proper staffing. I mean, it's one of the reasons why we're shifting that function from school into the personnel department,
What function? Unemployment?
unemployment, and hiring practices in one. So we have, you know, our most learned and focused experts in that area dealing with everything, one, in a consistent manner, but also in an appropriately assertive manner.
I assume the school department's happy with that, or it's appropriate, because you're the ones who, the city pays the bill.
We started the conversations a couple of months ago. Personnel was, I mean, just payroll was an obvious one, but the actual human resources / personnel functions.
Mhm.
We've had one transition meeting, and we're having another next week, early next week. So Nancy and Dale and I, Monica, Melissa, to some point, you know, the school department's made a list of human resource responsibilities that would need to be transitioned and who does what, so we capture it all.
What's the timeline on that?
Over the summer, we're hoping.
Transitioning some
Yeah, it won't
previously
be
school
a fell,
department
yeah.
duties to us.
It's not a fell swoop. I mean, the school department right now is in the middle of a lot of hiring and posting and whatnot, so it's not like it'll all disappear, but we've started, some functions have come downstairs into our personnel, general personnel.
So when you say you're gonna be a little more assertive, you're probably talking about employees who you feel don't necessarily require unemployment
Yep.
because of the manner in which they left the job.
Yeah. And that's nuanced. I mean, that's,
Really? It's
you know,
not
with-
cut and dry?
No, I mean, collective bargaining, I mean, there's a whole bunch of
Some of
factors.
it's collective bargaining, okay,
Yeah,
that.
some of it's
that's a
progressive
wrinkle.
discipline, what's been followed or not, I mean, you know, it's,
Okay.
Monica and Robin, that's their specialty, Monica in particular, where, you know, you're working through those issues and, you know, it's not to be stubborn or, you know, mean, it's just asserting the rights of the municipality and protecting Commonwealth and local
You're
dollars.
protecting the taxpayers
Mhm.
and protecting their rights.
Yep,
I mean, I don't wanna
absolutely.
see laid off employees not being able to get
And not-
employment,
yeah,
nobody's
no, no.
talking about that.
But we also, I mean, for fairness, we wanna look at every claim equally in the same set of, you know, parameters, checklists for, you know, criteria, regardless of where you're employed in the city.
Okay. So is that budget line just to ask for next year? You think you need to increase it, or do you think you're just gonna allow the reserve fund to be your backup?
Correct. But we, you know, we're hoping, you know, we don't have a couple bad, you know what I mean, like, it doesn't take much, you know, but if you're more involved in the process from the beginning to the end, then hopefully we can control that better. But it is a self-insured, unemployment, we do not pay a tax on our, or an assessment every month on dollars spent. When we get a claim, we pay. That's how it works.
Right, because we don't carry unemployment insurance.
Right.
I just remembered that.
So this is to catch us up, and then next month, it could be another.
Well, we
wrinkle.
have, there's a reserve because we're self-insured, and so we appropriate every year a little bit into that account and hope that it just kind of stays in the reserve. But because that 1 month pretty much wiped out what we had put aside for this year, we are dipping into the reserve, so we want to put that back and then start next year fresh with the same methodology of, you know, this is about what we should be spending on unemployment, given that we don't have any layoffs coming or anything like that, so what, you know.
Do you know, can you tell us where the claim, what department the claims came from?
School.
All 3 claims were from the school department.
This is public information, correct?
It is.
I know you're
It is.
hesitating, but you
Yeah,
can't.
and again.
You're not throwing the schools under the bus, it's
Right.
fact.
Right, you know, I think that.
Don't write that down.
A lot of.
I came in the middle of this.
Yeah, you know, this is about realigning, you know, services in City Hall, and you want your, you know, your experts, you know, to be handling the things that they know the best. I mean,
Well, yeah.
and getting those claims into, I mean, I think the school department does the best with a very tight admin team. There's no human resource.
They have limited
person.
staffing.
Yeah, you know, and personnel records, I mean, the regulations around personnel records are very different than student records, FMLA, unemployment, hiring practices, making, pay equity, which is, you know, still trying to figure out how we interact with the new law and whatnot, and having things in one particular area is important. Consistent messaging out of one department to all departments. I mean, sure, school, but it could have been, you know, any department. I mean,
No,
Those are the
that's-
only 3 claims this year, since January?
No,
No.
we pay unemployment all the time, I'm just saying the big ones came in that,
yeah,
Came in the last month, right?
yeah.
Do you know how many other claims there were?
I
About-
don't, because I don't.
You don't track them?
I don't,
She figures out how to pay it.
I don't see the
That's always
unemployment.
good.
I do not process the unemployment bill, it does not come to my office, I don't.
But certainly we can get that information from Monica.
Yeah.
But Monica processed the claims. Is that already started, or is this still transitioning and you said till July?
Yeah, but Monica's looking at the, I mean, I'm assuming JP, you're talking about all of the unemployment?
Yeah, I was wondering,
Yeah,
getting a
and then
handle on
breaking
all
down.
the unemployment
Yeah,
that's happened, you know, in
Monica
the
and
last
Robin
4 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if there's questions like that, we can ask them in the public hearing. You guys have any other questions?
I don't have any others specifically.
We'll take a motion then.
Make a motion to recommend $75,000 from the reserve fund to school Medicare, city Medicare, and unemployment.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
3-0. Okay. Next thing is, 30,000 reserve fund classification and pay plan study. I was happy to see this, I wanna say, because it was done years ago, and things change and we ought to do it.
Yeah.
And I particularly like I think we used UMass before, did we? No?
It was before me, I wasn't here.
See,
I
that's
don't-
how long ago it was, because she's been here like 30 years.
She started when she was, what, 2?
Too kind.
Anyway, I was just curious, are we dealing with, in the study, only pay plan or non-union, like those contracted positions? Are we dealing with all positions that are non-collective bargaining?
Right, yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
And when you look at those, do they recommend this company, whatever we're calling them,
Collins Center at UMass
Collins
Boston.
Center, are they recommending job description changes to modify job descriptions to meet the grade level that should be? Because they're studying different cities and towns that are analogous to ours and saying, well, you have this position, it's similar to this, but you need to change that. In my
Yeah, I mean,
opinion.
there'll be recommendations, very specifically around, this is, you know, how to comply with the current laws, because they've changed. And then
Oh,
this
really?
is what, yeah, I mean, there might be stuff in our job descriptions that just, you know, it's not illegal as it sits in the file, it just needs to be updated, like, you know, every job description, you know, needs to have EEOC language on it. And some of these job descriptions, just the paper, they're old, like that might not be a requirement 30 years ago when Melissa started, so,
So,
I
well,
think
look,
it says you need to be able to use a typewriter.
yeah, stuff like that.
well,
And
that
we
would
have 2
probably
typewriters.
eliminate everybody here since we don't
No,
have.
no, we have some very good typists actually in the building, but there's only 2 typewriters.
I was gonna say, there might be typists on a computer typewriter. Well, the keyboard's the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to
Yeah.
type.
Yeah, so look, I mean, we, you know, we're going forward asking for this appropriation. We have a bit of a scope from there, from the Collins Center of what they'll do, but I wanna flesh that out once the funds are allocated. Because talking to other mayors, they were very insightful of what specifically we should be asking, like putting a
Have
timeline.
they used them, other mayors?
Yeah, so Holyoke, Chicopee, Springfield, Northampton just finished theirs. Chicopee's in the process.
Holyoke, Springfield,
Yeah.
Chicopee and
Chicopee, Northampton.
Yeah.
That's a good run, okay.
Holyoke was a while ago, I believe. Springfield wasn't that long ago. Chicopee's still waiting for theirs to be finished up. And Northampton was completed, from recollection, it was the closest one. But just around, you know, before they start, we wanna know what they're comparing, what they think our comparables are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're a pretty new city, and there's a lot of language and just deference to being a town. And so comparing us to, I would be very hesitant if they say, well, a comparable is, you know, is gonna be, well, one, I'd be Framingham, which was the largest, you know, town, village in the Commonwealth until it became a city. Well, they've always been substantially bigger than ours, so while it looks like they're a new city, like, I wouldn't want that as a comparable, I wouldn't want
Government
Springfield.
size based on population, isn't it? Or,
Uh,
I always used to
no.
look at that, or.
It's I mean,
Right.
I think there's a general, like, you know, overview, but Framingham they just elected their first mayor. And then, I think 75, I mean,
For some reason, we
Framingham's-
always used to look at Agawam. I think that's because
And, yeah.
our charter started with Agawam. I don't remember.
And maybe, I mean, that would be, but I don't wanna see what other municipalities have just cautioned, saying, make sure the comparables are to cities that you really feel are comparable. Whether that's how we do our budget, what, you know, our revenues look like, certainly the number of people, number of employees, if you have a school district or a school department, we wanna, you know, not looking to spend this money to get something that's not
Is
on
that a
target.
directive you give to the
Mhm.
center?
Yeah.
You say,
We
look,
have
we
it-
wanna compare ourselves to these
Yeah,
cities.
it's the conversation to set it up. And also a timeline, where we want, like, it's phased out the project, and our expectation would be, we're gonna get part one, you know, in a month, but the part two, which they're talking to employees and whatnot, you know, might be 2.5 months, but.
What is your expectation of this to be completed?
I would love this to be completed in 6 months from the time that the money becomes available. And
Well,
I
that
just.
should be next Wednesday,
I mean, so,
And Mary said that she was available, the person that quoted this estimate, because she was finishing up in Northampton. And so, you know, once the money's available, there was not a wait for them to finish up something else in order to get started on whatever scope is finalized.
So I'm assuming if they come back and say, this job description is too highly graded for this employee, you're not gonna reduce their pay as much as wait until there's attrition to change that.
right,
Would that make, is that a correct statement?
yeah, I think that would be. a
You
heck
guys
of a-
understand what I'm asking? You look.
Yeah, I mean.
I wouldn't wanna see a pay plan employee suddenly lose pay because you decide
Yeah.
to change the grade down because it should have been, it's.
Yeah, I don't know if that's even allowed, I mean, one.
Well, I don't know
would
what the
it-
law is, but.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, say, hey, we're going to redo something else, and we found this out, or something has changed over the last 20 years,
You
so.
probably can't do it to a
Yeah.
current employee, you can do it with a new hire,
Yeah,
probably.
and put that out.
I wouldn't want them worried that that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? Okay.
I move the $30,000 for pay plan study.
So,
All in favor?
alright.
Okay. So, new water meters, we've done this the last few years. Same deal,
Mhm.
trying to catch up with,
Yep.
we're still replacing non-radio water meters.
Mhm.
These aren't replacing older radio water meters.
No, we're still, yeah, I mean, that is kind of the rotating plan through town.
We
What
don't
you
have,
got?
we don't have Joe here, so,
He's on vacation.
I know, do we have any questions that, he could answer them next week at the public hearing, I'd like
Mhm.
him to come in
Yeah.
case any council, I mean, this is something we've talked about every year.
Every year.
Mhm. Yeah. We can certainly give an update of where we are with numbers and.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I
Yep.
might like is,
Yeah, I don't have
how many have we replaced, how many more do we have?
Yeah.
There's 1150 left. 1,000.
Or did he provide us with a letter, cause I lost the letter, let me see what he said. Okay.
Couple more years in.
And this
Replace the ones that
provides
broke.
250 meters. This looks like the same letter he sent us last year. It may be cut and pasted.
Yeah, I think it's the same amount.
Efficiency.
No, right. 1150, okay,
So this will purchase 250 meters.
right.
And usually, I think. guys
It says
say
250 there, yeah.
About that, because they fixed the broken ones first, and then
And
they'll
go ahead and buy it.
as they can.
So they are repairing those radio meters that aren't working first, and then,
I
think
am
they're
not.
replacing non-radio meters first.
Yeah, that's just from my recollection, that's not in the letter.
okay. Whatever we could ask them. Well, it's gonna take us about 4 more years to get all radio, and then he'll be just asking for money to repair
To
the ones.
replace the ones that they put in the original.
If there's 5,600 radio meters, they're probably what is that, 20 years old?
Wow.
It's been a while. I'll move to approve that request for 50,000.
Second.
All in favor? So, I had some questions on the catch bait, the new sewer device, it's $335,000. But it looks like, if I can guess here, he's taking, they now have one big unit, which replaces 4 other ones.
Yeah, this is like a four-fer.
Sounds efficient.
It's very impressive, and it's efficient, and it will, one, help us with labor as we fix a lot of the equipment this will replace now.
Helps with maintenance, labor costs.
Yeah.
And a lot of these devices, are they still operational or are they off?
No, they're still operational. I mean, it's always a matter of, you know, repair versus, you know, not, I mean, well, I was gonna say repair and replace. Replace just doesn't make sense if there's a piece of machinery that we're looking at now. So, I mean, they're repairing and they're patching them together. They're very creative.
The only thing I had a question is, we just purchased Sewer Equipment of America's sewer flusher in 2013.
I'm not sure the difference. I'd have to defer to Joe.
That was my only question. I mean, obviously, to me, it makes sense to not buy all these individual machines.
Right.
Even though one of them is newer,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they can still use that if that's all they need to do. That was my question.
Yeah,
I assume.
I'm learning every day about sewer and wastewater and the difference between, but not.
Melissa, is this sent out to, what is that? Statewide bid thing?
It's gonna have to be a bit.
MS4. Huge unfunded state and federal mandates coming down around management of stormwater. MS4 permits are gonna require enhanced maintenance schedules, such as like cleaning catch basins on a more aggressive schedule. We're gonna be seeing our MS4 permit come down the line here in East Hampton, so I think Joe has kind of prepared for that and get us put in line.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
If you're getting testimony right from the press,
Melissa,
wow.
thank you for bringing your assistant.
It's all NEPDES, National Pollution
Yeah.
Discharge
There you
Board.
go. Yes, that
Okay, new regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's, yes, Vicky.
Have you, so,
The other thing
we
is-
sent this out to bid, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry, I know
right?
it's your meeting.
You can ask a question after the meeting's over.
Okay, sure.
We sent this out to bid, and this is the quote that he got for,
He got a quote from somewhere, I don't.
and then
it
they
has not-
send it out to bid later, is that how it works?
Yeah, I'm assuming he got that quote off a state bid list, but I don't know that I don't know that for sure. But
Okay.
it will either have to come off a state bid or it will have to be bid. So.
Well, I'm okay with continuing this.
I'm okay with continuing this and
I mean-
bringing it to the public.
No, I wanted to bring it to the public hearing if Joe's there, can answer all the questions. I mean, what's the difference if he answers the questions there or here? If you don't feel
It's nice
comfortable
to be able
approving
to
it.
deal with them here, I think.
You guys know
Who's
whether
there?
or not this is a serious, well, it just means that we have to deal with old business. Well, let me ask you this, are we gonna get more appropriations when I get into the budget hearings? Cause I'm chewing up regular finance meetings or budget hearings. You guys know of anything
There was
coming
the
down the
one
road?
that came across your desk today. That's what Ellen showed me today, what you told me about fire.
Oh, yeah, we do have one for fire. Yes. Trying to-
Well, we'll deal with them, but my thinking, JP, is,
Mm.
you know, we're gonna be here a long time dealing with budget. And those are the meetings that are left before the June date to, we have 2 more finance
I
meetings.
don't mind if he answers those questions. If he isn't there, then we certainly can't move
Oh,
forward.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Joe will be here next Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Could we-
I haven't heard that he's not, I mean,
Well, I'm,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, he's been
Would you
invited.
mention to him
Particularly
that-
with a
Yes.
$3 of $1 million
Absolutely.
purchase.
Yeah, I
state
think the
bid
councils are gonna wanna
questions,
hear more about it. What do you
they're
think,
Yes.
Tim?
important.
I
I'll
mean, I
give
think
him
we should have the public hearing, but if he doesn't show up,
Yeah, and I think as long as he's gonna be in town,
he'll
he'll make
show
an
up.
opportunity,
Yeah.
right?
I guess I'm comfortable moving it forward.
We could move it forward without a recommendation, too. We could just say, we talked about it, we don't have a
I would
recommendation,
prefer that, because we don't have the answers.
and we just have Joe answer all the questions there. Our job is to bring it to subcommittee, to either recommend it, not recommend it, or bring it back without
So I
recommendation.
would,
So
I
we
would
could do
move
that.
to refer to the full council without recommendation this time.
Okay, I would agree with that.
That's what I think.
All right, all in favor? No rec. So it's essential that he come to the meeting if you'd mentioned it to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is a lot of money, but it looks very efficient, but the regulations she mentioned might be needed to flesh out what
And
she
there's
has.
a public hearing coming up on.
All of these are this Wednesday.
I mean, a separate one, around the stormwater management plan, DPW board in June.
Oh, that's what you were mentioning.
Yeah.
In June.
What's it, like 19th or so, yeah,
Okay,
what's coming at us.
all right.
It's substantial.
You guys have anything else? I'm gonna hold off on the,
The stipend review?
stipend
Yeah,
review
I really
until
should vote.
July,
Yeah, I think that
until
makes
June.
sense.
I mean,
With the
we just have to
schedule.
have it done by May.
By December.
Right. We would have to, if we were to change stipends for anybody other than elected officials, we can do it anytime. Elected officials has to be done by December 31st. We are looking at the fact that a lot of communities pay the planning board, pay the,
Right, I remember that.
these are major committees, and we don't pay them anything. On the other hand, every time we've asked in the past, oh, we don't need any money, so.
And I.
If they're, and if you're not having trouble
Yeah.
filling the positions,
No, we're not.
so those are the debates I'm having in my head. Should we do it because other communities are doing it?
And I would just ask, I wanna have a conversation of if we were to broaden who gets stipends, where those dollars come from.
Yeah, that's why you'd be involved in the conversation.
Okay, I just wanna, I'm like, not, I think it's a fine idea. I just fiscally, I'm.
I think it's a fine idea to discuss it, but.
It's fine. Right? Let me channel my inner Melissa, like.
You're doing a good job of it. No, even if it's $1,000 for the planning board, that's still $1,000. Where does it come from?
Right,
Who's not getting it? Mayor's office.
I was just gonna say, fired.
Dave's not here, huh?
I know, right. Dave should have.
Is that pretty much complete?
Yeah, we're done, and I feel bad, because I told the ordinance committee to start at 6:30, because I didn't know how long this was gonna take.
Well, you never know.
I was, right.
You never know.
We need to let them know, though, that I'm gonna need 2 hours at every meeting for the budget. I put that, they can't start at 6 in this room.
All four of those are public hearing next week.
They're all, everything's coming,
It's
so.
already scheduled.
I don't know, people might wanna ask Monica questions if she could come to the meeting about the pay plan study and Medicare stuff. Melissa, you'll be there, right?
Yeah, she'll come.
Joe, Monica,
Yep.
Melissa, that's it. Okay,
After that.
move we adjourn,
Second?
all in favor?
All right.
Okay, thank you.